So the question is, am I alone in feeling bad for sellers getting ripped off when they sell collections because they're not able to sell at fair market value? That's what someone asked. I do a lot of analysis. I do a lot of analysis on GPA. I'm looking at it daily for pricing books, graded books. I'm pricing my books daily. I'm buying books. I'm looking at prices. I'm selling books. So I'm looking at this stuff a lot. I buy a lot of books, sell a lot of books. Just sold a $1,000 Ghost Rider 1 this morning for signed by Stanley. So the question betrays maybe a misunderstanding of this whole thing. Am I wrong in feeling bad that sellers are getting ripped off? For one, sellers aren't getting ripped off. Am I wrong for sellers getting taken advantage of because they're not getting fair market value for their collections? So if I have a garage full of stuff, what's the quote fair market value? So people think comic books are different than any other product in the world. I got a garage full of stuff. There is no such thing as a fair market value. Now, if someone wanted to take the time and put together ATV Blue Book value, which they do, then I could see what the Blue Book value is for my ATV, 750 Kawasaki, and they give you a range depending on mileage and condition and all that. And so they've taken the time to collate those sales. They look at it, and someone wants to buy that data. No one wants to buy that data for SUPs, for now I could go look at what SUPs are selling for, stand-up paddle boards. I could go look what a cord of wood is selling for. I could go look at what a weight bench is selling for. But collating all the sales and trying to put together a quote fair market value, there's only people doing that if there's a market for someone to buy that data. And there is a market for people buying that data for ATVs, for comic books. Sorry about the rough. We're heading over the lake. 93 degrees today in the Rockies in Idaho. So I got 4 little kids in the back, and we're going to the beach. But and I've read about this before, and I'll keep writing about it until I'm bare in the face. People think fair market value is what's a fair price. Now even that can be misinterpreted, but fair market value doesn't mean fair price. Today I'm a seller, and I found a buyer to pay $1,080 for a Ghost Rider number 1, 7.5 I believe, signed by Stanley. There's a lot of factors to consider. 0 selling fees, so there was no selling fees, no PayPal goods and services. You just paid cash. Whenever there's selling fees like eBay or something like that, that's something to take into consider. So when you're looking at your fair market values, most of them are reported by eBay or places like that, and the fees come out. So that even the people selling on those fair market values don't get that fair market value. PayPal goods and services gets 3%. The government gets their 28% of the profit. eBay takes 15%, and then who knows what happens with shipping. So everybody wants their piece of the pie, which as a collector for 50 years, 45 years, I hate that we can't do face-to-face trading and selling, and everybody wants their grubby little hands in it. So I hate it. So I do cash sales, and if you don't trust me, then I just won't sell it. I don't want other people involved in my business. I don't want paying PayPal goods and services fees. I don't want eBay fees, none of that stuff. So everybody can do as they see fit, but then that may impact your prices. If you have a select clientele list that you pick, make sure no one's gonna be a jerk versus selling to anybody and anyone on eBay and you're just trying to be the lowest price seller. There's different services involved. Everybody thinks it's like gold or stocks, that the only difference is lowest price wins. Lowest price does not always win. You could have a 7.5. You could buy from someone who you don't trust on and they don't accept returns. Now, you could do not as described, but if you're not doing through eBay, maybe someone doesn't accept returns, you know. Whereas if you have buy from a buyer, if you buy from a seller, and they have a trustworthy reputation. Maybe you don't like what that 9.8 is, you just send it back and he gives you your money back. No big deal, right? No fighting, no arguing with PayPal. So that's a level of service. When you ask someone a question, how long does it take eBay sellers to respond to you versus how long does it take me to respond, which is usually very quickly. So I offer a higher level of service, and so my prices may not be the absolute lowest. Now granted, I will sell typically lower than the lowest price on eBay, and that's PayPal goods and services, and I take 10% off that for cash. But the lowest price on eBay might be $1,000 more than the last recorded sale. And so a lot of people don't like that. Hey, you're $1,000 over the last sale. Okay, well, I'm the cheapest in the world. So it's just a personal choice on how you sell, what the competition is. Everybody gets to do different things. So it's not like an absolute market like gold. Like everybody knows what the spot value of gold is worldwide, and that's what it is. So, you know, I do financing. Does everybody do financing? Do you pay an extra service for that? So there's a lot of dealers out there. They have stores. People like to go into the stores. It's like Starbucks. Why do you pay $7 to go to Starbucks? For the experience. You're not paying for the coffee because you can go to the gas station and get it for $1, you know. And if you want all the Frappuccino and all that stuff, a lot of gas stations offer that. So Starbucks is all about the experience. You go in person. And maybe you see some cute girls, maybe you see some fun stuff, some ideas of things to buy. Maybe, oh, I'm hungry, I want to get a little snack. You know, oh, let's sit down and talk business. Let's do a real estate deal. It's a public place to meet, so you're actually paying for a cool air-conditioned place with Wi-Fi. That's why people pay $7. And when across the street, it's $1 for coffee because you're not buying coffee. So comic books are not commodities. I've told that. That's not commodities. There's not one flat rate price. Much like a blue book value, there's a range of prices. There's people that will pay a lot more overseas for a book from one of these auctions like Heritage because they're not allowed to buy from other auctions that don't ship overseas. And so they have to go there. Not only that, Heritage will hold their book in inventory, not ship them to them overseas. They won't have to pay any customs fees, and then whenever they feel like it, they put it up for sale, and all that handling just gets stuck with Heritage. So when someone pays $1,000 over the last sale off of Heritage, and you wonder, who are these crazy people? Why aren't they watching Comic Toms? No, there's a value in that. Someone over in Saudi Arabia, India, they know that they're trustworthy. They know they can send a wire transfer or something like that. They know that all those other services are available, so they're happy to pay a little more. Maybe they just bought $35,000 worth of books, and I just like this book. It's $1,000. Who cares if the last sale is $500? I want it. A lot of collectors are like that. If it's within a certain margin of error, 10%, I'll buy it. 10% of $100 is $10. 10% of $1,000 $100. 10% of $100,000 is $10,000. So if you're going to spend $100,000 on a book, do you really care if it's $110,000? If it's a book you want, maybe you've been looking for it for 6 months. So fair market value, it's what a buyer and seller agreed to. And there's a lot that goes into that. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of services. When you get into raw books, there's a whole nother level of, do you trust this person's grading? Are they willing to send you 10 pictures? Like when I was selling raws, I'd send 10 pictures of a raw book, front, back, all 4 corners, front and back, so they can look at the grade. Maybe they don't care about the grade, but I have buyers that were like, I need a 9.6 plus. I needed to know that it could get a 9.6 or a 9.8, a signature series, and if I want a 9.2 minus, I'll go to eBay, because all the near mints on eBay are really a 9.0, 9.2. So, you know, getting a 9.4 on eBay is actually hard if you know what a 9.4 is. So, should you feel bad or guilty that a seller doesn't get it? If I had a fleet of cars, and you think I'm going to get what those cars are worth if I sell all 100? No, one at a time is going to be better. I just heard an interesting thought on Collector's Comics, and he was saying that the sellers actually make more when they sell it in a group, which I thought was interesting. But I think with him, the groups are like 5, 10, 15 books, not 100 books or 1,000. You know, 15 books, maybe you throw in 1 or 2 keys, and then a bunch of books that will never sell. And then maybe overall you might sell the keys for less, but you get rid of the non-keys at, you know, $3 each, and that's way more than you'll get anywhere else. So maybe small batches will be good. But if I have a collection of 3,000 comic books, that's like me having 3,000 cars saying, I want retail value. No, there's wholesale and there's retail for comics. If you want to buy, for cars, you want to buy a fleet of cars from anybody, you're getting a major discount. So the person says, am I the only person that feels bad? I understand that sentiment. You get into collecting, you have this idea that fair market value means this is what the book is worth. It's like gold. I should buy it for $5 and sell it for $5. But that's not even how gold sells for. There's spot price, and then dealers mark up the spot price. So you don't even get to buy it for what it sells for, and it's kind of understood. That's why people like to buy gold from their friends and neighbors, so they don't have to pay that dealer bump. So, I think over time you realize, usually the people that don't realize this stuff, the people that have been collecting for a long time and haven't really tried to sell. I think I collected 40 years, 1980 to 2020, not really trying to sell and not really understanding what the sale market is about. There's different ways to sell. There's putting a lot of pictures up, putting a lot of descriptions up. They call it ad copy, the words, maybe the quality of the pictures, where you market it. There's a lot of things that go into marketing a book, and it's very hard, very time consuming. So when you sell that collection, you're taking literally hundreds of hours from that buyer. And a lawyer makes $400 an hour. My time is worth $400 an hour. You know, if you think your time's only worth $10 an hour, it's really hard to stay in business making $10 an hour. If you think your time is worth $100 an hour, that may be not enough to pay for your overhead. So if you got to do 400 hours worth of work on a collection, you got to get paid for that. So the profit has to pay for your time. So anyways, I think it's understood that if you have a whole collection, no one's going to feel bad if you don't get full retail, quote, fair market value, especially when those fair market values are not even agreed upon across the board. Anyways, happy hunting, guys. Bye-bye.